Ben 10 is the most requested character for MultiVersus. You can search his name in the official MultiVersus Discord, subreddit, or Twitter, and there won't be a character requested nearly as much as him. Before the game came out, we made a video suggesting a moveset for Ben if he makes it into the game, but a lot of it was just guesswork. We had no idea what the gameplay was going to be like. Now, the game is out, we're well into the second season, and we know way more about the game than we did before.
Let's see if you're as good with that little sword as they say.
Unlike most fighting games, MultiVersus breaks the mold by giving its playable characters high concept and unique interactive abilities. They aren't afraid to get extremely creative with their moveset, like changing the trajectory of a projectile in the air, summoning a card that other characters can use, or even playing a legit game of basketball. Not only will I give my thoughts on more accurate moves that's built around the mechanics that the game already has in place, but I'll also cover potential perks, class type, and give my thoughts on the status of MultiVersus as a whole as well. What's up everybody, I'm Hershey Lee, Pandaman OP, and today we're going to answer the question, is Ben 10 for MultiVersus still a good idea? Of course it is. You think this video would be 11 minutes for nothing? If you haven't seen our previous video, let me break down the outdated moveset from 2021. Ben is primarily in base form. His melee attacks turn him into Wrath for a quick combo. His ranged attacks shoot lightning as feedback. Double jumping turns you into Astrodactyl, which allows you to glide back down to the floor. Blocking turns you back into Ben, and a super move would feature Alien Next. Not bad, but now that we actually know how to play the game, we can make a moveset that feels more at home in the world of MultiVersus. Now, the original point still stands. It isn't viable to expect a minimum of 10 aliens, as that requires a lot of work when it comes to modeling, developing, and balancing. However, it's important to me to make it really feel like you're playing Ben 10. We have to keep in mind that a character is not only fun to play, but fun to play against as well. Playing against a character with all kinds of projectiles, different physical hitboxes, and constantly changing movesets would be extremely frustrating to play against, and a nightmare to balance. Not to mention all the status effects that you could get, from aliens that can weaken, shock, and ignite. If it feels like he could do anything, how do we make him fair, but also respect the character? Let's start with the class type. There are 4 class types in MultiVersus. Assassins are fast, mages are focused on range, bruisers have strong attacks, and tanks can take most hits. Realistically, Ben could probably fit into any of these types depending on his aliens, which is why I feel like the best idea would be to create a new class type called Specialist. This would also open up the opportunity for other characters to be added who may not fit the current selection, but for the sake of keeping this video grounded, a mage would best suit his abilities. More than half of Ben's aliens have some form of ranged attack, which is perfect for the mage class. And given that his moveset will be a balance between offensive and defensive play, depending on the player, focusing on only strength, sneak attacks, or only taking hits would limit Ben's flexibility. The key to playing Ben is collecting your Omni energy and keeping your meter full, which is the key to your transformations. Ben starts in human form, and he needs to fill his meter using combos before he can access any alien transformations. Once the meter is full, you keep it full by successfully landing attacks. Until then, his attacks utilize his martial arts, or a weak but effective plumber pistol. He can also pull out his hoverboard to move faster and dodge attacks quicker, but he can't attack when he's on the board. Also, unlike Superman, colliding with the enemy knocks you off the board, so only functions as a quick getaway. For his defense, he throws out a null void egg that when making contact with an enemy will trap them inside the egg for a short period of time. The trap player would then have to button mash to break free, but to make it fair, he throws the egg very slowly, so you have to be a sharp shooter to really hit it. So let's say you snuck in enough hits as Ben to get your meter up and want to use your aliens. I originally struggled to find the perfect aliens for this, as I imagine anyone would. There's just so many options to pick from, but in the end, I settled on adding aliens that could have useful mechanics in a 2v2 environment.
I usually work alone, but for you, I'll make an exception.
MultiVersus at heart is a 2v2 competitive fighting game with an emphasis on supporting and fighting with allies through various combat moves and buffs. My version of Ben at this time has 4 controllable aliens and a few cameos. Similar to Finn's backpack, you can hold down and press the special button to activate your Omnitrix display. From there, you can move it to the left to select Echo Echo or to the right to select Feedback. As for the other 2 aliens, we'll we'll get there. When you select your alien and transform, your Omni energy meter instantly starts depleting. So make sure you only transform when you're absolutely ready to use your alien. With a maxed out Omni meter, you can remain an alien for up to 30 seconds, which should give you plenty of time to dish out a ton of extraterrestrial damage. When you're Echo, your attacks become mid-range sonic blasts that have a small knockback. Your neutral special creates a clone that after a short amount of time rushes towards the nearest enemy to grab them. If a clone successfully grabs an opponent, it gives them a speed debuff and 1 weakened stack. It also gives you a small percentage of your Omni energy meter back. The clone will remain hanging onto their back for a short amount of time. You can create up to 3 clones at once, so you can attempt to latch 1 clone onto each of the other enemies, or get all 3 clones on 1 person, significantly depowering them and making it easier to wring them out. But if an enemy hits your clone before it grabs them, any amount of damage to a clone will cause it to immediately disappear. And as a fun bonus, if you jump on a clone before it makes contact with someone, they can boost you further into the air. With feedback, you can fire a small electrical projectile that does more damage than the plumber pistol. You can also enter a counter stance. You can absorb 1 light projectile attack at a time, which will give you an electrical aura. If an enemy hits you with a melee attack while you have this aura, it will stun them and then make the aura disappear. If you use your projectile with the aura activated, you'll shoot out a faster, stronger electrical shock, and it adds a stun. MultiVersus is very big on teamwork, so if your teammate comes into contact with your electrical aura, or if you shoot your attack at your teammate rather than the enemy, it will give them 3 gray health, which allows them to take a little bit more punishment. For the final 2 aliens, you don't access them through the Omnitrix dial, but simply by double jumping. This allows you another way to easily access your aliens, but it still costs Omni energy. Most of the time, double jumping will give you jet ray, and you'll remain as jet ray until you land. But while you're in the air, you have the option to execute a laser beam attack, which freezes your position in the air. The attack will also leave a line of burning fire for a few seconds. In a rare instance, double jumping will give you Astrodactyl. The mechanics will be the same, but its attack will consist of pulling out the whips and rotating very quickly, creating a ranged attack in all directions. It wouldn't be a MultiVersus game without a few perks. So what could Ben's world bring to the table? Using Ben on his hoverboard does help you evade attacks with ease, but you're still very vulnerable as you can't attack or block while flying around. But with the Scurred perk, you can equip the Block's Lobber when on the hoverboard, which continuously fires projectiles when you fly directly forward, but not when you're stationary or flying in any other direction. When you equip Gwen's spellbook, jumping once will temporarily spawn a mana platform that you can jump onto and will disappear once you jump away. If you time your jumps right, you can create a continuous platform to climb, but if an enemy touches a platform before you jump off of it, it disappears.
That's what we call a knockout jump.
And to get additional aliens, you could equip perks that change and slightly improve your sidechain combo, changing Ben's martial arts to a different alien at no cost to your Omni energy meter. For example, equipping the Forearms perk will allow you to transform into him while doing your combos. This will also allow the developers to keep giving Ben aliens well after his release. And the last perk, Hero of Heroes, allows your ally to help you fill your Omni energy meter, helping you transform sooner and more often. Now that we talked about Ben's moveset and a couple perks, let's talk a little bit about the state of MultiVersus as a whole. As much as we love for Ben to be a part of this crossover fighter, what is he signing up for? MultiVersus came out with a lot of promises, and with a name like Player First Games, we had high expectations to look forward to. Now that the game has been out for a while, it still ended up being fun, but there was a handful of troubles along the way. The game makes it very difficult for players to unlock new characters, which can make the gameplay feel pretty stale outside of the free fighter rotations. You used to be able to buy characters with gold, which prompted a lot of players to save up their gold in hopes to get more fighters in the game when it officially released. But when it did, gold was completely removed from the game. So if you didn't buy the characters with the gold when you could, you lost your chance, which was understandably irritating. And the new system with ticketing and fighter currency isn't nearly as rewarding or effective. The developers did make alterations to make fighter currency more fair, but it still can't replace what was lost. And while the fun and imaginative movesets are what make MultiVersus so unique, it also invites a lot of bugs and imbalanced moves. Every video game is always in a constant state of improvement, but from hitbox issues to various game-breaking bugs, MultiVersus seemed like it needed a lot more work before it got launched. And when it did launch on the new Unreal Engine, the new tutorial didn't have nearly as much as the original taught to new players. Player First Games was also recently acquired by WB Games, which blankets the future of this game in mystery. One of the biggest selling points for this game was the developer's passion to put players first. It's even in the name. But with the way the game's been going lately, I think it's fair to stay cautious. Bringing Ben 10 into this game would be a refreshing acknowledgement that they still do want to put players first. You can't escape the constant requests from the community for Ben to be added to the roster. And after all the previous issues that MultiVersus has gone through, his inclusion could turn a new tide and bring a new light to MultiVersus. Not to mention that Ben 10 is already a Warner Brothers property, one that's worth over $8 billion at that. So the proof of appeal is certainly there. And remember to use hashtag Ben10 for MultiVersus. Thanks for watching this video, guys. I really appreciate it. Seriously, make sure you let me know how you feel down in the comments below. I've been Hershey Lee, aka Panda Man OP, and I'll see you next time.
Rebel soul child got a fist ball. I'm a respawn of ancestors, and I'm blessed. They are not him, tell him fess up. I get check stub, hella carefree, nothing scares me, hella reckless. Yeah, I got next up, right? No, we not the same.